gonna replay the intro music because I love it that much. I'm not sure enough my 5G. String key, select a new key below. What? Alright, can you guys hear me okay? Sorry about that. Oh my god, don't understand why it's so trash every time I want to live stream. I don't. Can you guys hear me okay? I can just see buffering on my end. Oh my god, what is going on? I don't understand this. It should not be this hard to live stream. Okay, that's fine. I'm live now. Oh, I should be live now, but I'm trying to connect to my phone. But oh, it must be because it's trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's buggy every time on a live stream. One, so let me mute my mic quick. All right, hopefully that's resolved it. I don't know if it has. Here we go. I think that's resolved it. No data. Great, you'll have to see it. Okay, we pray it works now. It's on the 5G. I'm just gonna have to use my 5G for these streams now. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, we'll try it. We'll try it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know, like it says I've got connection. I don't know like what's wrong with it. Like I don't have generally my internet connection's fine, but I don't understand why when I live stream it decides to just mess about. It's just yeah, it just makes live streaming pointless. Like honestly, my videos upload instant. It's just for some reason, like it just when I live stream it doesn't like it. It really doesn't like it. Like it tanks my internet speed fully. Like watch
110 ref.
I guarantee you do normal streamer stuff and then it's just gonna crash again. So look, here's my speeds now. Like, honestly, yeah. Like I don't understand why it suddenly doesn't work. What updates have you done lately? It's not a Windows issue. It's either an ISP issue or it's a something else. I think it's an ISP issue to be honest. I set up a new booster just now to try and to try and improve it. I mean, like look at this. Like genuinely, like for me, just a consumer, is that 150 up, 150 down, plus 150 down, 137 up, nine pings basically. Like that's as good as internet as most people have, and I can't fucking live stream over the Wi-Fi. It's just ridiculous. There's a lot I wanted to get to as well, but
what world will the good
I've wasted fucking 20 minutes to try and sort my Wi-Fi out. But I think what I'll do is I'll just have to restart the internet each time I go live. Yeah, I guarantee you, Peter, mate. I guarantee you'll be able to live stream better than I do. Honestly, it's silly, silly. Yeah, yeah. I don't know, guys. Yeah, but we'll get started. Just a quick one for you guys that are here. Yeah, it's like 12 people here. For people out here, I want to try and live stream on Fridays. Fridays after work, so it'd be like I'm trying to shoot for like 4:30 to 5:30. I think that's gonna be the goal. Because there's basically an hour break I have where I go from work to the local game store to play board games with my mates. So I've got like an hour free on Friday, so I might as well just do something productive. So it justified me getting a coffee after work, I guess. So that's gonna be the goal. So you guys will see me live on Fridays. I just need to figure out how to do it on my phone. That's the only like problem, I guess. So yeah, Fridays I'll try and set it up so it notifies people. So yeah, I'll be streaming for about an hour. We'll just discuss like boring stuff. I guess it means I have to actually look presentable. So yeah, hopefully I'll find like the cafe I've got my eye on. I'm not sure how good the lighting will be there, but as long as I don't look like a DLC character, I think I should be fine. But there's a lot I wanted to discuss here, anyways. And yeah, something I watched Miles's video, and it was very actually enlightening. It made me understand a lot of things. So it's probably the most interesting video that I've watched in a long time. But there's a lot I want to discuss here, like for the local elections, like a metric ton. So I don't know how to do this, but yeah, we'll do like just a whole discussion on the local elections. And then yeah, I might just put it as like a normal video, I guess. I don't know. It's ridiculous, like the amount of tabs I've got open. It's for 2 content pieces, really. So let's get started before it drags on too much, because I want to get in some League of Legends or something later tonight. So I saw the new mayor of Lincolnshire. So we're going to be discussing basically Reform, Labour, Tories, and Greens. It's a bit messy just because I haven't organised it properly, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So let's have a listen to what Jenkins had to say.
What world will the good people of Greater Lincolnshire want 10 refugee camps in their backyards?
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about as they come across, as they have it in France.
So down in Dover?
Well, yeah, I do that as a temporary situation. Why would the good
people of Dover want tents? And
it's NIMBYism right here. This is NIMBYism, It's, we're going to set them up in Dover because it's not in my constituency.
Refugee camps on their doorsteps.
Also, I mean, Reform's correct that we must come out of the ECHR so we can start pushing people back. I mean,
you can't, doing that, you're endangering people's lives by doing that. If you try and drag these boats backwards, we've seen other countries try it. It doesn't work.
I really don't understand is that we've given millions, and even when I was Conservative MP, I challenged the government on this, giving millions to France. They leave a safe country to come to another safe country.
I totally agree with you on that.
They either have language links here or familial links here. That's probably why. I mean, we told people from Afghanistan to come here to seek asylum, maybe.
But so with France.
I totally agree with you on that. But in what world will the people of Dover advocate refugee-style camps like we see in the third world with tents
I mean, we see it in France, so I didn't realise France was the third world.
Erected in their backyards? They just won't want that.
Well, it's got to be a contained area. It's got to be a contained area to then we've got to send them back to France. We've got to start.
Did you see the person? Did you see the video of that person saying that she would vote for them if they had... Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, she got the door slammed on him.
My whole point is we've got to send.
Sure, I need to find that actually.
Send them back to France, Camilla. They shouldn't be coming over in the first place.
Is your tent idea your idea, or has it been endorsed by the party? Because Reform sort of distanced themselves from this.
Yeah, no, it's my idea. Of course it is, yeah. No, Camilla, I've always been a politician who speaks my mind and puts...
Yeah, facts. That's true, to be fair. I want to see if I'll find the short video on this. I know which one. We got it. Got it in one first article. Here, this is it. That's what you guys are talking about.
Chance of me giving you my vote.
Here with Karen Shores, the Labour candidate in the by-election.
Sending in the charisma vacuum.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
No chance of me giving you my vote. Now, if it was Ada Sultana, happily. But I can't stand the man, wouldn't vote for the man. I'm going green. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Oof, that's brutal, That's actually brutal. What the hell's going on back here? What the... These are not my YouTube selections, by the way, guys. But yeah. Hello, Ben's classic old man. I'll say, yeah, I was tempted to use this super chat goal thing, but I'll leave it because of the shambles we started with. But I'll show you if I get a couple. If I get a super chat, I'll show you probably the fun. Not the fun. It's not a funny video, but it's just the most outlandish video I've seen in forever. Honestly, like there's a Kanye West video which I just couldn't believe it. Honestly, So yeah, a classic. Ben's old man would be. Yeah, he would be. Tony Ben. I think that was his father's name.
No, I haven't. But the fact is, I mean, I just like you and everybody else, we see on YouTube. Of course.
I'm not trying to trick you. I'm asking.
No,
and the only reason I'm asking
Yes.
is because having reported from there quite extensively myself, I can say that one of the things that local French people hate most about that is seeing people in tents. So much so that the French police confiscate their tents. So it would seem a bit of a curious policy to try and emulate.
Well, no, I mean, look, it happens in other countries, and also, but we've got to get to
my whole. In other countries.
Look, my whole point of making this statement is that we are soft touch Britain, and we're acting like
we have worse benefits for people. Worse refugee benefits for people than a lot of other European countries.
Honey, bees to honey by putting people in hotels, by they get the accommodation, they get their food paid. I mean,
they don't want that though. They want their asylum processed. They want their claim processed so they can move on with their lives.
Look, some Conservative-led councils have even paid for driving lessons. This is tax.
It's a bit bizarre.
Payers' money, and it should actually be tents, not rent. It should actually be British people are charitable, Lewis, but they're struggling themselves now. Energy costs are at an all-time high. Mortgage rates.
And I wonder, right? Which party caused a lot of that financial turmoil? Were you a part of this party recently?
I mean, my mortgage went up £800 a month when the fixed rate finished. So I know what it's like to struggle as a single parent. And
I don't think you do, buddy. You literally finished an 80k job a year, right? You literally got paid 80 grand a year to be an MP, and you were very bad at your job, giving people the middle finger and such. And also, you were a minister, so you got paid more than that as well. You don't know what struggle is, pal. Let's be real.
And so people are struggling. So why should the British people be putting people in hotels out of their own pocket
so
when
you'd be happy
they
to
work
see,
so
you'd be
hard?
happy, you'd be content, as the Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire, you can have a role in this. If there are roads with people in with tents, you're content with that?
It's got to be a confined area. I mean, I have to say, this isn't...
I think this will make the whole situation worse, which is what they want. You know, this will give them the pretext to come out of the ECHR. That's what they want, to make this problem as visible as possible.
Children, if there were children, should they be in tents?
The fact is, we've got to stop the pull to Britain.
But if people are going to France and they're staying in tents, it's clearly the tents are not the, you know, putting people in tents is clearly not the answer, because otherwise they wouldn't be going to France in the first place.
With this, and why are we paying these millions and millions of pounds to France when people come from a safe country such as France to come here?
You can seek asylum in any country.
We should be sending them back to France.
So if there were...
we can't, because of Brexit, you dodo. You're literally the reason we can't do that.
If there were children in Lincolnshire, unaccompanied migrants, and they were in tents on the roadside,
well, how are they
your
going to
message
get
is
here in
okay.
the first place? You know,
I know, but once they are here,
By the boat, you dumbass.
they're in a tent, that's okay with you.
What percentage is actually children? The majority of them
There
is
are
actually but the majority is economic migrants, Lewis. They've got the mobile phones. It's usually young men who come across, and we've got to stop this pull to Britain. We've got to be able to push back.
What a ridiculous person. But yeah, you know, Nigel Farrage is intending to use reforms UK's control of 10 councils to launch taxpayer-funded legal challenges against net zero policies and migrant housing. And that's what this has been, what his goal is, I think, for a while. Because now, this is what he's going to fight the next election on. He's going to fight the next election on stopping people getting, you know, staying in these hotels in these areas. And he's going to make a big public show of it. A huge public show, and I don't know if the government will be able to house people in areas if there's a legal challenge. And this is it. He's going to make this as public as possible, because, you know, I've seen videos from like Phil and people like that where they talk about, oh, you know, Labour are fixing the NHS, the polls are saying, you know, this is what people want, etc. Like, what you need to remember is people's opinions on things change. You saw that during the riots. People attacked these hotels and places like that, and what Reform are going to do is use that anger and make these areas as visible as possible for people. And so by launching legal challenges, that's what's going to happen. It's well, you know, like this is it. Like, but what you got to understand is with polls and things like that, people's opinions change. You saw that with Brexit. It's the best example of it. You know, people didn't really care about the EU that much, and then, you know, they pushed immigration, they pushed all of these other angles, and then suddenly it became a big issue. So much so that in the 2015 election, Cameron offered that referendum, the infamous referendum, and he changed history with it. So, you can argue the polls look one way, you know, oh, Reform, blah, blah, this, that, you know, people... What the other thing is, you know, he does argue that, you know, Reform voters hate the Tories, therefore won't vote for them. But, you know, there are Labour voters who hate the Lib Dems and would have voted for the Lib Dems in certain constituencies to get rid of the Tories. I would not be surprised if there are certain Reform voters and certain Tory voters who will vote for the other party in certain constituencies to get rid of their Labour MP. I would not be surprised at that at all. Yeah, we keep going. And, you know, this strategy here is diabolical.
About having asylum hotels in their communities. This has caused a lot of concern to many people, but you've told them that you will reject migrants going from the council areas that you now control. How will you actually do that? Because the contracts to house those people are between the Home Office and accommodation providers. You don't have the power, perhaps, to keep the promise that you've made.
There are instruments of power available to us.
Well, like what?
Judicial reviews, injunctions, there's planning laws. You know, a lot of these hotels, and there has been litigation around this already. A lot of these hotels, when you suddenly turn them into something else, which is essentially a hostel, that falls foul of a number of regulations, and that's what our teams of lawyers are exploring at the moment. And we can look at budgets as well. So the word we used was resist. Look, we're not in government yet. That's our plan, and that's why people watching this programme who believe in these values, who don't want to live around people whose first action upon coming to this country was to break our laws and then to live at the behest of taxpayer money.
But the question here is the difference between saying things and doing things. And you will be in office now in local government in much of England, and you've told people publicly that you will resist migrants coming to their communities. But you don't have the direct power to do anything about it. Unless, are you saying Reform's lawyers will try to use the courts to close?
It won't be Reform's lawyers. It'll be the council's lawyers.
Asylum hotels. I'm trying to understand what you actually do.
There are a number of instruments at our disposal, which our teams are working. We've already just won the election, right? So what we're going to be doing in Reform Control Council, this is our commitment. We will use every instrument available to us, and those include things like injunctions, those include things like judicial reviews, those include things like the
NIMBY toolkit. This is the strategy of NIMBYs. Actually
enforcing the planning laws, because we think a lot of these changes that are being made are in violation of a number of these laws, and we're going to look at budget reallocation.
Your new
as well.
mayor in Greater.
This is crazy. I didn't think they would. I didn't even know this kind of strategy existed. But you know, this is what Reform are planning on doing. You know, he's attacking the DEI stuff. This is the stuff Trump was doing. Diversity. What was it? Diversity, inclusion. I can't remember the exact phrasing now.
Because you've made a lot of promises about saving money from waste, from equality, inclusion and diversion.
Diversity, inclusion and...
Diversity. We've had a question from Alan in Barnard Castle, County Durham, a council you now control.
It's not equity, is it? DEI is not diversity, equity, inclusion, is it?
The bins are collected on time. Potholes aren't nearly a problem that they are in other counties. What exactly do you object to about equality and diversity and inclusion? What's the problem?
Well look,
equality.
In places like County Durham, there is a lot of disaffection about local government. There was a ward in County Durham where Reform won 65% of the vote share from a standing start.
No one's disputing your success, but what's the objection to that kind of thing that councils do, equality, diversity and inclusion policies?
Well, the objection is very simple. We believe all hiring should be merit-based and colour-blind, and the best person should get the job, regardless of any immutable characteristics or anything else. And DEI is the opposite of that. Look, ultimately, one has to choose between equality of opportunity or equality of outcome. And I keep going back...
I think with this stuff, with the DEI stuff, I think a lot of it's been overblown. A lot of it's been overblown to the point where, like, you know, they're acting like if they had the choice between a really qualified white dude and, you know, some random, I don't know, Asian lady who's got no experience, they'd pick the Asian lady. It's generally for two candidates that are extremely close. They would look at other kind of things like gender and race and things like that. So, like, in that context, it makes sense. There is a big problem in the gaming space where they try and push certain things like that a bit too much. And I have seen that, you know, a lot of pushback from that, so that makes sense. You know, I did want to work on a video called "The Problem with Journalism," or my issue with journalism. So that might be today or tomorrow's project.
To it, what constituents want, and the evidence for that is the overwhelming landslide victory Reform just won. Is they want simple things like bins collected on time, while you know. Your viewer is saying there's not an issue there. We've spoken to many people. That's why we won a landslide, who are deeply unsatisfied at the way local government is run.
The question here is that you've said you can save money by cutting waste in this area.
Sure.
And we've checked with some of the councils that you won. Lincolnshire County Council said they don't have any staff doing those kinds of jobs. Staffordshire County Council told us they don't have any staff doing those kinds of jobs.
With respect, Laura.
Let me finish. Nottinghamshire County Council says they employ one...
Wow, the BBC doing journalism, that's crazy.
...one person doing that job. And you said throughout this campaign, by cutting that kind of waste, you can save people money on their council tax bills. If there's hardly anybody doing these jobs, you're not going to save any money.
So I spent quite a lot of time actually looking at these Freedom of Information requests. And what you find when they respond to them is they're very loyally and very precise in their language. It's like getting blood out of a stone. If you take Lincolnshire County Council, yes, they do not currently have somebody with the job title DEI officer. They do spend considerable money on DEI initiatives, and they have other people who have basically that same job but under a different title, partly in response to the fact that they've been inundated by think tanks and activists putting in FOIs. What we are going to do, and this is our commitment to the British people, sure, we don't have a magic wand, but we will cut ways. You can hold us to that. We are going to send teams in.
His voice sounds very similar to Kwasi Kwarteng.
Task forces will be opening up applications.
How much are these task forces going to cost, big man?
Shortly, we want the brightest and the best. If you've got experience in audit, if you've got experience in fixing potholes, if you're a software engineer, we're going to bring task forces in. We're now going to have access to the contract, access to the numbers, access to payroll, and we're going to make these changes.
It's got big Doge vibes. It's got big Doge vibes, which is what they want. And Doge was ultimately a failure. You know, there's a reason why Elon's not at the White House anymore. Doge ultimately failed.
And is coming for the right.
So he's talking about, you know, winning 350 to 400 MPs. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't, but I think they can do well. You know, Farrage talking more about this stuff.
Going to be quite radical. Work from home, forget it. If you're a DEI officer.
Work from home, forget it. Where is Buddy now? Is this man with his wardrobes and stuff here, Zia Yusuf, is he working from home or is he in the office? Does this look like the office to you? Do you have wardrobes in your office, pal? So stupid.
I suggest you look for another job.
Yeah, I'm sure the union's going to be really happy with that, buddy.
Things are going to be different. We can't wave magic wands. We don't pretend to, but it'll be a very different...
One of the few good things Labour are doing is that workers' rights bill. So if that does come into play before Reform start firing people, it should be very interesting. And I saw this as well.
What we need to do is instill a sense of pride in the United Kingdom, a sense of pride in our history. And right now there is
Okay. World War II aside, and you know there were really some really bad policies in World War II. You know, the fact that we baited I think Germany to invade Norway, which was neutral at the time, as well as the Bengal famine. World War II aside, right, which is Britain's finest moment, arguably on the world stage. What are you proud of exactly? Well, what in the history of Britain are you proud of?
There is.
Is it the Empire? Is it the Suez Crisis? Is it when begging cap in hand to the IMF? What are you proud of? What do you want more people in Britain to know about?
Writ large.
Yeah, the problem with the UK definitely starting teams. I hate teams. 250 seats or so. It's going to be more realistic figure for reform. Look for predicting. Yeah, I don't think that 250s. Can they get 250 good candidates? Should be interesting.
Demoralisation campaign that has happened for young people. And you hear it time and time and time again in schools. It's one reason why reform is polling at 1 in 5 18 to 25-year-olds.
Yes, because the system, the Labour Party haven't delivered for young people, and the Tories haven't. That's why you're the third option, pal. That's the problem. The Green Party should be there, but through their own marketing failures, alongside a media who are complete dog. That's why the Green Party aren't doing that well.
Now support reform because they're sick and tired of it. And look, we are living in a competitive world. We're competing with countries who don't tell their young people that they should hate their country, that they should be ashamed of their history. And
what history do you want to be proud of? Like, if you look at the state of this country, right? The infrastructure's trash. The buses are trash. Well, actually, the buses are mid at best. Yeah, for opportunities for young people in terms of learning to drive, career progression is non-existent. Like, what do you think people are going to be proud of? There's nothing here.
Reform is a deeply patriotic party, and we think we should...
Brother, they hate you. They hate you. It doesn't matter that you're the guy funding them. You're the hitmaker. They hate you. You're an Asian dude. When they look at you, yeah, there's one thing they think about, the kind of guy you are. They don't like you, buddy.
Ensure that children, at the very least, are not being indoctrinated to hate their country. And
yeah, it'll be used for public money, 100%.
What they should really be doing, we should be ensuring that they are taught the great things that Britain has provided the world, because there are many, many things we should be proud of.
Like what? Like, I would want examples of that. I did see a Labour MP, really badly. Just when the grooming gangs was brought up, she didn't even fall into a trap. She just baited herself really by saying, talking about it as a dog whistle.
I don't know whether you saw the documentary on Channel 4 about rape gangs over
this.
We want
to blow that little trumpet now, do we? Yeah,
there was a real issue.
Let's get that dog whistle out, shall we? Yeah.
With the, they do use grooming gangs as a dog whistle because the way they use very specific things to get the outcome they wanted for the numbers. We did see recently that you know, there was a big scandal with some people who are I think they were English or British, you know, got wrapped up in a big kind of paedophile ring, and the media didn't cover it as like a grooming gang, even though it very much looked like it was, because they used specific metrics to get those figures out. But I think this MP here, Lucy Powell, really messed this one up badly, really badly. And you know, West Streeting talked about how Nigel Farrage is a threat.
Well, I think reform is definitely a real threat and one that we take seriously. I think there's clearly on the right of British politics.
No, when they think of him, won't be British Raj. You got to think about it, he's an Asian dude with the Muslim name.
A realignment taking place.
Almost got
It's
30
not yet
people.
clear whether at the next general election it will be reform or the Conservatives that are Labour's main challengers. But we've got to take that threat seriously. And in that spirit, I think reform does deserve more airtime and scrutiny of their policies, because you mentioned the issues that Nigel Farage wanted to fight the local elections on. There were other issues like the NHS where he wilts in the sunlight of scrutiny. He says on one hand, he says people who can pay should pay. And then he says, oh no, but I still want the NHS. He says he wants an insurance system.
Will you?
But he doesn't say who should pay, how much they should pay.
Okay.
And that is
I think
threat.
if I was Streeting, I'll talk about the costs of the other systems as well. Like, how does the German system work? The French system, do people pay out of pocket? I think in Ireland you have to pay to see a GP, and then you can claim the money back or something like that. I would discuss this
To the NHS, and one I think we absolutely
Will you start to
should
treat
take
them
seriously.
now as your most serious opposition?
I certainly do treat them as a serious opposition force. As I say, I don't know whether it will be reform or the Conservatives that emerge as the main threat. I don't have a horse in that race, but like Alien versus Predator, you don't really want either one to win, but one of them will emerge as the main challenger to Labour at the next general
There was always that vacuum. Labour didn't create that vacuum. That vacuum always existed.
election. But as the Prime Minister said in his article over the weekend, we see as the big issues and the big...
That article over the weekend was paywalled. We'll discuss that. You know, Reform has suspended newly elected councillor for what she claims was for urging her followers on X to back Reform in the short term, even if not in the long term. So she got suspended for that. So essentially, I think she's saying, like, you know, they haven't got a ton of faith in Nigel. There will be, Reform will do the same, only evilly pretending to be something else. I'm a Reform candidate. I'm waiting for Rupert and Ben to give us a real alternative. Oh, this is even funnier. Rupert Lowe is the guy who left. Reform, and he's got, I think, an investigation into him. And obviously that's Ben Habib. So this is actually amazing. That she got suspended for this. Back to the Tories. Kind of flip flopping between different stuff. Insiders say Badenoch, who refused to do media on Friday, spent the day instead doom scrolling on her phone. Robert Jenrick, potential successor, went out to face the music instead. Aides say she wants to learn lessons. She was doom scrolling, like she don't know what she's doing. She's lost. What was Starmer doing? There's rumours he's going to fire Bridget Phillipson and someone else. And this article from last year, Starmer feeling more upbeat after a particularly difficult few days. One said, Keir seems very chipper when I saw him last week. He does this sometimes. He has a big clear out of staff and it cheers him up, but usually only for a couple of months. So he gets rid of all the people who he blames or whatever. And that makes him happy. Classic rich boy. This about the Conservative Party needing a purpose. Tories have 7 stages of grief to deal with. They're in a big mess. She was not the one they wanted. In Ireland, if you have a medical card or a GP card, you are not charged. If you pay to see a GP, you can claim it as a medical expense and claim it tax back 48%, the top rate. So why would you need to pay in the first place, though? Or is it if you do pay? So if you do go private? So this is Justine Greening, former minister.
The Conservative Party back on track. In your view, what does she need to do? And listening to her this morning, do you think she understands what's going on?
I think the party needs a sense of purpose again. People need to know what it stands for, and that then informs the policy agenda. For me, it's always been obvious the party should stand for equality of opportunity, social mobility.
Yeah, it would be a big mistake. Nah, do you know what? It wouldn't be that big a problem. I was thinking about it, right? I was like, Phillipson and Nandy, right? Nandy's pretty dumb. Like, I'll be honest, she's pretty dumb. I've covered some of her like stupid and bad takes before in the past. So, but the problem is these are two red wall MPs. You know, Nandi I think she's in Wigan, and Phillipson's in Sunderland, and getting rid of two women, two red wall MPs would be, I think, a huge mistake, especially if they fill those spots in with people from the south. Justine Greening asked her opinion on what was wrong for the Tories. MSM considering this sage tells you all you need to know. What's wrong with Justine Greening?
The policy agenda should flow from that.
Yeah, no worries, bro.
Whether it's within government, whether it's what businesses who have opportunities do with them, how they reach them to communities that need them. It's got to be really around how we can develop the talent that Britain's already got. I heard Kemi talk about people having more children twice. We've got a lot of children. Let's develop the ones we've got in our schools. Let's look at how we can make sure that those gaps don't open up in the education.
If you earn above the pay threshold or below the age threshold, you have to pay. See, this is the stuff I would mention if I were Labour.
System, as they already.
She's Cameroon. I mean, mate, let's be honest now. She's probably better than most Tory ministers we've had.
You do.
It's a very low bar. It's a very low bar, but you know, she can jump it.
Some really practical questions facing the Conservative Party, but I think more fundamental is what is the point of the Conservative Party now? And if we can't find an answer to that, then we shouldn't assume things won't continue to get worse.
Yeah, there isn't really a message behind the Conservative Party beyond the trans message. That's about it. That's their big problem. I think there's no coherent strategy thing for them at all. You know, and you know, excuse me, learning the wrong lessons. Labour targets international students claiming asylum after losses to reform in local elections. Excuse me, sorry, I just had a fizzy drink. They just won't learn. They just won't learn at all. There's more here. This is a banger clip actually.
Like your sat nav is telling you you've taken the wrong direction. You're about to drive off a cliff, and your answer is put your foot down on the accelerator. Don't change direction.
No, the message we've taken from Thursday is people want to see the change they voted for delivered. They want to feel this country is moving in the right direction. We know they're not yet feeling the change, but we've got to go harder and faster at things like cutting NHS waiting lists, getting more police on the streets, returning people to other countries who shouldn't be here. We've actually, on deportation, you mentioned the boats. I mean, on deportations...
Like Labour being proud and running on this deportation angle, just makes no sense.
Actually got deportations up. Thanks to the...
You realise how many voters you're going to turn off by talking about this, right?
Secretary's actions. There's more to do. She's got... That's why she's been working with France. It's why she's been to Iraq to deal with these problems.
We will return to all of that.
But you do not... But, Trevor, the fundamental point is, with the scale of the challenge we came into, you do not turn around all of those problems in 9 months. You just don't.
It's a ridiculous argument using this one. That's about Jenkins. And, you know... For some reason, they've got Wes Street in front of this. I don't get why.
From the right, whether it's Reform or the Conservatives as the main party of the right in British politics at the next general election, I don't think it's entirely clear. I think it is conceivable that Reform...
I think they're going to agree on Wes Street to replace Starmer. I think Bridget Phillipson was the big pick. Bridget Phillipson was the one that a lot of people thought would replace Starmer. Maybe that's why he's getting rid of her, but, you know, he's old. He's not going to be there for long. I think they're going to put Wes Streeting in, I'll be honest. I don't know if there's a history of healthcare secretaries becoming leaders of parties / PMs. Jeremy Hunt would be the only one I could think of. So that would be interesting to see that.
Is leapfrogging the Conservatives, and there's a party realignment on the right going on.
Do you think Nigel Farrage could be Prime Minister?
I take the threat of reform very seriously, actually, and I found that when I've challenged Nigel Farage on the NHS, he wilts in the sunlight. So he says he's...
Second time he's used that line?
Around saying for quite some time that he doesn't really believe in the NHS.
Okay, we've had this one before. And, yeah, this is him discussing getting rid of doing all the unpopular stuff.
Let's start, because we love hearing from our viewers, let's start with a question from Philip, who says this about Keir Starmer. What he fails to see or is not willing to admit is that the local election results show people are not happy with the changes he's making, changes that were not in his general election manifesto. Do you admit that lots of voters just don't like what you've done in office?
Well, there's no doubt, you know, and I campaigned in a by-election in my own patch in Runcorn, across the country. There's no doubt that there are some individual things that we've done that people have not liked. But what I would say in defence of those decisions is, well, we knew at the time that, to be honest, every single measure we've taken to raise more money for the National Health Service, for example, has not been popular and has been contested. But the reason we've done that is because people wouldn't thank us if we left the NHS rotting in the crisis that we inherited. Thanks to those decisions, we've seen NHS waiting lists fall 6 months on the trot. The 2 million more appointments we promised in our first year, we delivered 7 months early, we're already over 3 million. But I also understand why, if I'm sure it's happening right now as we speak, as I'm on the telly saying waiting lists are falling, there'll be people shouting at the telly saying, hang on a minute, I'm still waiting. And both of those things are true. Waiting lists are falling. There are still 7 million cases on the waiting list. So I understand why, whether we're talking about waiting lists, whether we're talking about interest rates falling 3 times, whether we're talking about wages finally going up above inflation.
I forgot to wear my headphones. But, you know, this idea, they got the unpopular stuff out of the way. Like, he's talking as if they're not going to do more unpopular stuff. You know, the economy is not in a good state here. He just about won his seat. I think it was like 500 votes for Wes. He won't win a leadership contest.
Of this, and I come back to your suggestion that this is a protest vote. If you rely on calling it a protest vote, the implication is you just think it will go away. You know,
I certainly do not believe that. But look at the numbers.
You don't think this will go away?
This was 30%. These things, we look at what's happening all across the world. You talked about France. Look at what's happened in Canada, where a Conservative leader of the opposition, 23 points ahead when I met him in December, lost his seat this week. Same thing happened in Australia yesterday.
Could that happen to you?
So anything can happen. That is why we are not...
Yeah, anything can happen, but, you know, you're hoping for a miracle, really.
Not being
Trump was a miracle for those Labour candidates or kind of Liberal candidates.
You asked me what I think is happening. I've said I do think it is protest, but that doesn't mean we sit back. We are going to come out fighting. We are going to come out with the policies that people want to see. But what we are not going to do is rush out and tell the public things that are not true just so we can win votes. This is not about winning elections. This is about fixing our country. Yes, of course, you need to win elections to do that, but you also need a credible plan. We've seen what happens with Labour. You come in without a plan, just winning, and everything gets worse.
The thing is, the Tories don't have a plan. It's one of the big problems. So yeah, you know, I don't know. Labour MP, broke ranks say hyper-liberal party. Oh my fucking kill me. Oh, just this guy, fucking hell. Look at this guy, Jonathan Hinder, is talking about a migration freeze, 1 in, 1 out, literally reform policy. ECHR reform or exit. Like, this guy needs to lose the whip. You can't be pushing nonsense like this. You cannot be doing a yearly refugee cap, shut down of asylum hotels. What? Oh wow! It's just wow. Literally, that's Farrage levels. I'm just baffled. Wes is in competition with Starmer. Wes is winning that any day. Winter fuel allowance will go down as one of the biggest cell phones. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with that. Giving ground to your opponent is such a good idea. Sarcasm. Yeah, just gonna say, guys, before we continue, listen to West Street and Cringe. You can donate a super chat if you'd be so kind. There's memberships there from £1. Also liking and sharing the video. We've actually done okay numbers. In terms of viewers, like 25 is decent. So I'm pretty happy with that. I feel like I haven't done a live stream like this in a while. So I'm going to hopefully get back to doing 1 or 2 a week. Kemi is like a South Park character. Yeah, she kind of is.
And I just say to people, I mean, look at, it's not just the NHS, look at the breadth and depth of crises we came into last July. Give us a bit of time. Give us the benefit of the doubt.
Now, the one thing politicians will never deserve, right, and I will die on this hill, is politicians never deserve the benefit of the doubt because you're a bunch of slimeballs. Memberships are currently 5. It should be 1. There should be 1 for £1. Is there not? There should be one. The Articon one should be £1. Bear with. Yeah, there's one for £1. It's the top one. There's one for £5 and one for £1. So yeah, you can join from £1. Politicians don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. Never. Because they move the goalpost. Gift membership. Sorry. Okay. The gift ones start from £1. I mean, they should do, but yeah, no, never deserve the benefit of the doubt.
We are moving things in the right direction. Change does take time, so change has begun. The best is still to come.
I think with the NHS stuff as well, I think a lot of people, I think a certain person overestimates how much of a difference that'll make. Scrap tuition fees, scrap 2CB child benefit cap, scrap winter fuel allowance. What? Scrap PIP. Cut. What? If Labour does this, it's over. If Labour does do this, it's over. So, what? Do you want them to scrap? Which I'm so confused. But yeah, continuing on. This is Ed Davey talking about them wanting to take on reform. I think Ed Davey would get eaten alive. There's a reason why the Lib Dems are mostly in the south and Reform are mostly in the north. You're talking about two very different voter bases.
Said he took his inspiration from the Liberal Democrats with your local branches, local councils, local progress. If he's taken inspiration from you, it doesn't sound.
Oh mate, he's another one. Charisma vacuum.
Like it, but I'll try my luck. Would you take any inspiration from him?
Listen, he clearly doesn't share our values. I don't share his. And, you know, I think what's going to happen now they've actually got to run councils, we will see what they do. You know, in the election, Nigel Farrage said they should cut funding for special education needs and disabled children and young people. I think families across the country will be really worried by that. When polls closed, he said he wanted to ape Donald Trump and Elon Musk's policies in town halls. And, you know, look at some of the other policies. If he's really going to do what he says, presumably he's going to stop insulation programs that keep people's energy bills down and keep people's homes warm if he does what he says on climate change. So I think we'll hold him to account, you know, Laura, and I'm very confident that people will increasingly see that it's only the Liberal Democrats taking on this divisive populist politics.
I mean, I think the Greens are as well. I think the Labour Party aren't. The Labour Party are embracing it to an extent. So yeah, I don't say it's just the Lib Dems.
And I just urge your viewers to Google "Let's join the Liberal Democrats" and come and join us.
Let's not do that. Let's not. We don't do that around here.
Well, I think
both in our
the election campaign.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. This line here, you know, like it's just, people want to see change. They voted for delivered. Doesn't make sense. We know they're not yet feeling the change, but we've got to go harder and faster. Like you just sound like that Kanye West song. You know, I think he sampled Daft Punk as a harder, faster, stronger, better. The song Power. That's like, come on, man. Like, it's just ridiculous. I bet you they focus group this one. You know, it's just
No, when we made those choices, we knew they would be unpopular, and we knew that they would be opposed. The reason we made those choices because we genuinely believe they're the right choices to get the country out of the massive hole it was left in.
I mean, no, it would have been to tax the rich. That would have been the actual answer, to do land taxes and other such things.
Right across the board, whether it's the NHS, whether it's schools, whether it's prisons, whether it's our defence and security, whether it's crime and policing, there were enormous challenges facing this country when we came in, and we've had to make big and sometimes unpopular decisions so that we can face into those challenges and deal with them.
Okay,
People won't thank us if we just kind of go for the easy
You are going for the easy options. That's the point. You're going after people that are old, people who are vulnerable, people who are sick, and people who are disabled, and people who are poor. These are the easiest targets in society.
If we want to make the right choices.
Summary, you made difficult decisions, you made choices, but they were all excellent choices, and that's why you got hammered in elections and you lost a third of the seats you contested. Does that make 2/3? I beg your pardon. Does that make sense?
I think that, no, as I said at the top of my answer to the local election results, that people do not yet feel that this.
What is the Labour change? £300 a year for energy in 5 years. It's obviously a good thing, but come on, one of the biggest majorities ever, and I mean, even that policy, like, if energy bills go up, they're going to go up consistently over the next few years, and how are you going to take £300 off? How are you going to measure that, really?
Country is changing. They have not yet felt and experienced that change.
How brilliant you've been.
No, as I said, Trevor, the challenges we came into were enormous. If people do not feel this country has changed, if they have not seen it move in the right direction...
I mean, we haven't. We've seen it go in the wrong direction, really.
...by the next general election, then people will look for change elsewhere. We know that.
But you know what this sounds like? It sounds like your sat-nav is telling you you've taken the wrong direction, you're about to drive off a cliff.
Oh, we've seen this clip earlier, and I think 100% I agree with that.
Plan is to go further and faster, and congratulations, you haven't used the cliche yet. Let's talk about what that actually means. The signature choices you've made since you came to office last July: cutting winter fuel allowance, cutting overseas aid, cutting disability benefits, allowing a record number of people to cross the channel in small boats. Which of those are you going to do more of? Which of those are we going to get?
You're getting cooked by Trevor Phillips, bro. You're getting absolutely eviscerated here.
Get further and faster on.
Well, actually, in terms of the choices that we've been able to make, thanks to the investment that we've raised through decisions that I accept have not been popular, I think every single measure that the Chancellor has taken to raise money for the NHS and for other public services has been opposed, and not just on winter fuel or employers' national insurance, but getting rid of the exemption on VAT for private schools, the non-dom tax arrangements she's gone tougher on the wealthy.
She's not really gone that much tougher on that one, has she?
People always oppose the means of raising the money.
People didn't oppose the last two, not really.
But they're always calling for more investment.
Just go back to the 50p tax rate, you dumbass.
You do have to make politics is about choices. We've made
you made the wrong ones. You made the bad ones.
Choices in order to invest in our NHS, and I'm going harder on reform. We're abolishing NHS England, getting rid of layers of waste and bureaucracy.
What bureaucracy have you got rid of?
We are going further and faster on that.
He did the cliche. He did the thing. He did the thing. Look.
He responded by saying your plan is to go further and faster, and congratulations, you haven't used the...
He does use it because they get drilled into them, the catchphrases they have to use. Labour to crack down on international students claiming asylum. We've covered that already. Now we look at reasons for not voting Labour. This polling's a little bit old. A little bit, from the start of the year. But this guy, Jonathan Hinder, he's the guy we mentioned earlier, I think, talking about its immigration when, according to the public, as of Jan 2025, you could argue it's old data, but okay. This is the poll that The Guardian have cited for their article that came out yesterday. Which is reasons for not voting Labour: removing winter fuel allowance, reduce cost of living, not reduce cost of living crisis. So these are defectors from Labour: not improved public services, broken too many promises, not stood up to the rich and powerful, raised taxes too much at the budget, mishandled the economy generally, failed to control immigration. So 18%, the lowest amount here, the lowest amount. So. And respondents choose up to 3 reasons. So immigration is the lowest one, despite the fact that people had 3 options to pick from. But you got this donut here talking about immigration. And this guy got into a big spat, I think, with Tansky as well, which is hilarious. Don't know if I've got it here. But yeah, he got into an argument with her over what he was saying. Do I have it here, actually? I might do. So bear with, I'm just going to scroll. Give me a minute, just see if I can find it. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about here, about them two getting sacked. So he's getting rid of the Department for Culture for some reason. Honestly, I don't get what his strategy is at all. It doesn't, nothing here makes sense. We'll leave it. Nothing here makes sense at all. This is the thing, getting rid of red wall. This was my tweet. Sorry, I'm a bit self glazing here. Get rid of red wall MPs from cabinet. Another genius move from the night. Here you got Claire. I think her name's Claire McCaskill. She's one that's been a bit more vocal, but in the end, she should have voted against the government's plan to cut the winter fuel allowance.
protecting people, helping people to move forward in their lives, and ensuring
She was the most vocal about this, but abstained.
we've got those public services.
Can MPs get good microphones, please? I beg, honestly. You're on 80 grand, yeah. Spend £100, get a mic. Dear Labour, you're not going to out-reform reform. What are you doing? Rethink your strategy. Which is true.
What you don't do is ape the policies of reform, because
if they wanted to stop the boats, right, set up the processing centre in France. That's what they should be doing.
people will simply say, well, if that's what they'll go for the real deal and they'll vote for reform.
That's it. No, stop following reform. This is the exact answer right here. It's so obvious. You know, Farrage with the national platform.
It's a reform quake when he spoke to you, but are we now looking at a lasting change to the political landscape? I'm asking you to make a prediction, which you said you couldn't do actually at the end of your piece.
You're not going to get me to make a prediction because simply we are into unknown territory. Look, we said that this, while a small set of elections, could have profound consequences, and there are serious repercussions for all the political parties and indeed the political system. When you look at reform, they have gained over 750 councillors. They've taken 8 councils, the Runcorn by-election, 2 mayoralties. Nigel Farrage...
Yeah, I found the tweet I'm looking for. I'm just going to bring it up.
...now has a political machine with governing power. That is a massive and profound shift for reform, and it's put them from being a protest party into local government, into power, and really on an equal footing in some ways as some of the parties that they have been trying to...
No, it's nowhere close to equal footing, really. Like, you know, like it's not close because he doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have the numbers at all. It's not even close. You know, we'll talk about this actually towards the end of this. Can I put this up here? It's gonna let me know. Okay, that's fine.
Take out. If you look at the Conservatives, it is a horror show. Kemi Badenoch tonight writing in the Telegraph, apologising.
They are looking at extinction, by the way. Like there's you know, Tory insiders talking about this is the end.
To her party, saying it's a bloodbath. Another rival said to me, it's like everyone was machine gunned down when it came to councillors. She has lost over 670 councillors. They have lost control of 18 councils. They lost control of Buckinghamshire, where I grew up, Tory heartlands that they've held since 1970.
Yeah, most of the reform gains are from the Tories, and that's what makes this good and also bad. It makes it good because F those guys, honestly, I hate them. Gone in the bin forever. The dustbin of history is where they belong. The world's oldest political party, gone. I used to pray for times like this, but if they kill the Tory party, what that means is that vote split is gone between Tories and Reform.
3, and there are some Tories tonight saying to me, this is what the extinction point looks like. There are others saying it's going to get worse next year in the Welsh and Scottish parliamentary elections. And then there's questions now about how long could Kemi...
No, not Rebecca Long Bailey. No, she's not it.
Badenoch survive.
There's no apart from Clive Lewis, there's no one I would see as a leader of the Labour Party. I think Clive Lewis is the only one I would want. I think Zara Sultana still maybe a bit too green. There's the other one, Nadia Whittome. I think she's quite young as well. Dr. Khan would be a good pick potentially. She seems decent. I don't know many of the other like G's in the party. I'll be honest. There's not many. I don't know. No worries, bro. I don't see a lot of talent in the party. I don't.
Awful for her, simply awful. But then you come to Labour, the worst ever performance for them. Keir Starmer won a landslide on 34%.
Do you mean John McDonald? Is there a Jim McDonald? I don't know who that is.
Of the vote. He's come in with 19% of the vote, a 15-point drop. They've lost 2/3 of their councils. It's been an absolute disaster for them as well, and they will no doubt be worried about reform. I just recorded our electoral dysfunction podcast with
Hillary Benn. Are you serious?
Harman, the former deputy party leader tonight, and she said MPs are rattled and there are some wobbles.
No, definitely not. I'd rather have Starmer over that guy. I'd bun that guy, honestly.
in the party, because they're looking at this thinking we're going to lose our seats at the next general election. So there is problems and challenges for Keir Starmer too. And then the Liberal Democrats, a great night.
Are you naming people you don't want in charge of the party?
Day for them, picking up 3 councils and another 163 councils.
You know what, yeah, you deserve one of these.
As of the latest count. So that's the parties, but there's also a more profound question about the political system. 2 parties.
Here's my response to you wanting that absolute fraud.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Hillary Benn, come on, man.
Party duopoly from Conservative to Labour.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Alright, don't make me have to play that again, okay?
Labour has run our politics for decades, but now we really are in the era of a multi-party system. There are massive questions about how sustainable that is.
It's not sustainable, because the way first past the post works is it's designed for parliamentary majorities for the most part. It's not sustainable.
I asked Nigel Farrage on Wednesday what the biggest risk was. Should he do this well? And he didn't think he'd do this well, but he's come in better than expectations. He said the biggest risk is delivery. Now that he's got the power, can the party sustain it, use it productively, and keep their momentum?
Nah, not Rayna. Nah, she's done. Respectfully, no, not her. No. She hit us with the classic General Shepherd.
No, you understand.
She hit us with the I know you'll understand. No, definitely not her. No.
So there's questions about that. But I think what I can say tonight is that we are moving into a new era of politics where...
I've heard this one before with UKIP, to be honest. I'm a bit... I don't know. I think it'll only work if the Conservative Party die or become a really small electoral force, I think the Liberal Party were historically, or I think the Whigs Party. I can't remember which ones it were, but it's got to basically die politically.
What is clear is how we've done politics for the past decades. The sands are now shifting. How it lands in the next general election is all up for grabs. And Nigel Farrage now has a national platform with local power and a real stage with which to truly run at the Conservatives and the Labour government.
Yeah, I agree with this to an extent, but he always had a platform because you guys kept giving him one. So, I don't think a ton has changed. He had that with UKIP. So I don't know. I don't know how different it is from the 2010s. I guess the difference now is the Conservative Party are cooked, and I guess that does make all the difference. I'll actually get a vote. For a new Labour leader because I'm a member of an affiliated union. Yeah, I'm not a member of any political party. I don't care enough to get involved in all the nonsense. There's too many snakes, man. This is the only Team Snake I'm on. That's it. This is the only ones I represent. Are the ones from Metal Gear. The rest of them, can't be trusted. At least this guy actually does shit. Yeah.
The Labour Party.
This is the he's part of the Green Party, Zach Polanski.
Have utterly failed people in this country, both through the winter fuel payment cuts, what they've done to the PIP payments, and for people who are severely disabled. And there is a lot of anger and disillusionment in this country. I think Nigel Farrage has successfully channeled that into anger, into hate, and into division.
100%.
I think the Green Party have to step up and offer the politics of hope and community, which we are doing. But
Nah, you're really not. Not with the NIMBYism. You kind of fumbled on the trans issue as well. I'm not seeing it, dog. I'm not seeing it.
I think we're not cutting through in the way that reform is, and I think we've got to have a really important party conversation about what is next.
As you said, you've been going up and down the country, and I don't want to take away any of the sheen and the positive.
We'll see. Like I said, the Green Party are not a bit mid, to be honest. They've got big Lib Dem vibes. Big Lib Dem vibes. I'm not the biggest. I don't know. I'm not. Do you know what it is? I'm not I'm more of a spectator of the game now than any other time before in my life. Like I don't want to get involved that much at all. To be honest.
Feelings to
not for now, anyways. Why do they have two leaders? The way their party set up.
Day, but just looking at an article here where you were down in Wiltshire in the elections, you were trying to convince areas like Wiltshire to go towards the Greens. I'm looking at the Wiltshire Council elections. He didn't manage to get a councillor there. Reform did pretty well, but it was the Liberal Democrats that actually, it was no overall control, but they did the best with 43 councillors. What do you think happened in Wiltshire? Why would the people of Wiltshire turn away from the Green Party?
I think that is
Can we take... Yeah, we can take the Greens seriously. Yeah, of course. Apart from the monster raving loon party, the parody parties, I'd take most political parties seriously. Just see what they're about. Corbyn start a party as his parting gift. We concentrate all our efforts there, and nah, bro, nah. It can't be around a person like him. He's too divisive. He's too divisive. I think he's made a lot of mistakes in his political career. I think I'm not sure. I'm not invested enough in the story. I'll be honest. You get the politicians you deserve at the end of the day. Divisive enough to get 40% of the vote. I mean, my brother in Christchurch, I could have done damage against Theresa May. You put me as leader of the Labour Party, I could have got 40% of the vote if I was in charge of Labour. He was against Theresa May, T May, easy dub. This is honestly, I can let me see if I can find this right. DC Ryan Bader. This is how easy it was. See if I can find the bit where he says it. Because it's easy dub. It's light work. He should have won. He should have won that. There was internal problems. 100% I agree. Let's see. This is it. Look. This is it. Like this is what it reminds me of. When I think about that election, when I think of how easy it would have been to beat Theresa May.
They said, Daniel, what do you want? I said I want the easiest fight in the division. I want Ryan Bader.
That's what he said. I want the easiest Tory party to be, easiest Tory leader to beat. Easiest Tory leader to beat, right? Give me Theresa May. That's honestly light work. The coverage I saw after that election was nuts. It was they compared Theresa May to Hillary Clinton. It was crazy work. In 1920, 45, is that about the Liberal Party? The old Liberal Party took 20 to 25 years to decline and disintegrate from 1920. I'm missing something in there. It may be a similar pattern. Possibly. 1920 to 1945. So you're talking pre-World War II there. So you're talking between the old Liberal Party, and is that the party of Lloyd George? Because Lloyd George was Prime Minister. See, Lloyd George would have been Prime Minister during World War I, so I think let's see. Let me see when Lloyd George... Corbyn got utterly character assassinated the media. Policies were massively popular. May's personality was awful. What I'm telling you is, the policy platform was too broad for a start, but also he had the easiest opposition to beat. Easiest, honestly. There's no name me a Tory leader worse at campaigning, worse at communication than Theresa May. On God, please. The only one you can say is Liz Truss, and she never ran our election. That's it. You've got a list, yeah. You've got Boris Johnson. You've got Badenoch hasn't run against election, so that's not fair. I'm not putting her in there. You've got out of the ones who ran in election, you got David Cameron. You've got Boris Johnson. You have Theresa May, and you got Rishi Sunak. Right? I'll do a poll. I'll ask the people. Okay, let's do a poll on this. Right? The easiest Tory leader to beat. There's no way, all right, unless you guys are trolling me. I'm telling you now, there is no way the people are saying it. So we go with Johnson, Cameron, Sunak, May. There's no way the people are not picking May. I'm telling you now, that's the easiest stub there is there. She won her leadership contest because Andrea Leadsom, the other person, said something controversial and dropped out. Oh, fuck those guys. I'm not talking about that. Corbyn was never going to run against those guys. He was leader of the opposition against David Cameron. He ran against Theresa May and he ran against Boris Johnson. Sunak's the one that just went out recently. Right? You tell me, right? Which one? Sunak. Oh, you people lost your minds. You people are actually nuts. Sunak. You guys are saying Sunak is easier to beat than Theresa May. Oh my god, it's crazy work. There's no way. You guys have forgotten. You guys have forgotten how bad Theresa May. You guys have forgotten how bad Theresa May is at speaking. Honestly. Look at this, yeah. Let's see this video.
Have you offered him the role of Brexit secretary?
Now, I don't talk about things to do with the cabinet reshuffle. I haven't appointed a Brexit.
Not hateable, beatable. We're talking like as a campaigner. We're talking as a political leader.
It's new Brexit secretary yet, but obviously I'll be doing that over the course of the next day or so. Michael's done a really important.
Okay, this ain't it. All right, let's have a look at this. I was going to get copyright. Don't play music.
Becomes Prime Minister. When a leading Labour MP says his party is institutionally racist. We gave the...
Do you know what, right? Actually, I'll give you the one thing, right? Grenfell. I'll tell you. Runs away. I'll tell you who this person is, right? She didn't do a debate as well. She didn't do one of the debates against Boris Johnson. She literally ran away. She ran away from people at Grenfell Tower. She ran away from people at Grenfell Tower. Like, this is not... She didn't want to debate Jeremy Corbyn. That's how bad she was. The number one easiest candidate to beat, I'm telling you now, is Theresa May. Sunak Tunbridge Wells speech. Yeah, that was pretty bad. The others are cheesy lies. I'm telling you, she ran away from Grenfell. She didn't want to debate Corbyn to the point where she ducked a debate with the guy. She ducked him. May turned up scowling with police escort to Grenfell. Corbyn is welcomed by the community. May was really bad. She was awful. I'm telling you now, this is it not? It's not. I don't know if it's called memory bias, but this is recency bias. This is a recency bias. I'm telling you. Why isn't he easier to beat then? Because as cringe as he was, he could actually put a speech together. He wasn't that bad in the debates, compared to other Tory leaders. Like, no, with that list, you're right. She was shocking. Brexit means Brexit. She cocked up Brexit so badly. Sunak got the Windsor Agreement. What did she get? She was honestly infinitely more beatable. Honestly, right? Whoever's voting for Rishi Sunak, you have recency bias. You cannot remember how bad Theresa May was. She was utterly awful. She was against Corbyn, a guy who had... Let's see. Theresa May. Polls. No, she had a massive lead on Corbyn in that election. Look at that. She had a massive lead on him because he was deeply unpopular, right? Deeply unpopular. He closed the gap. That's how bad it was. Let's see. He managed to close the gap on her. See, 10 reasons why she blew up her majority. She had a majority. She lost. Deciding an election, Theresa May had been racking up stunning approval ratings and huge opinion poll leads. Her constant refrain was Brexit means Brexit, and it seemed serious, tough, and honest. Her honeymoon period felt like that of another blah 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 blah. She ruled out having an election, then she changed her mind. She insisted she was acting in the national interest, but others detected baser motives. How can any voter trust the Prime Minister? So, there you go. She thought Corbyn was what? She thought she could win a bigger majority. The wrong type of campaign. Theresa May, let's see, writing in the Times, she said, if you run a presidential style campaign with a woman who doesn't like media interviews, then you have to accept that it's better to do them and run the risk that they go badly rather than look like you're running scared. Dodging TV debates. With huge poll leads at the start of the campaign, it was quickly decided that May would not take part in anything risky as a TV debate with her main challenger, or risk meeting too many members of the public in big rallies. Why would you want to do that? Sunak had rallies. He was in the debate. Underestimating the opposition. Supporting history is littered with underdogs triumphing because they wanted to win more than their opponents. Manifesto policies. This is Anna Soubry talking about the time.
Well, where do you want me to begin?
I remember watching this live.
Anywhere you like. I mean, it was a dreadful campaign. You don't have actually, lots of parts of the manifesto are actually extremely good. But if you're going to look at social care, you have to put that policy, if you even have to start to detail a policy, in a way that actually explains that this is a good thing that you are going to do. When you talk about the changes you're going to make in school lunches, you start with the headline that says children from poorer families will now get 2 free meals a day. You don't start.
She U-turned on social care because Labour called it the dementia tax.
On the basis that some.
This is it. Look, the right, not reacting to Labour's surge. Nick Timothy, the guy who went on to, I think, work for Newsnight. May's personality. People knew very little about Theresa May before the campaign started. She had been Home Secretary for a long time, but had not courted publicity like some of her cabinet colleagues. An introvert, by Westminster standards, and in general, I'd argue. Like Hillary Clinton, she was not a natural on the campaign trail either. I think Hillary Clinton was way more confident in campaigning. Negativity, fox hunting, the same old Tories. They, who's backing Theresa May in this? May's unfortunate case, from what I've heard, people close to the Tories, she was pretty conscientious behind the scenes. She couldn't hold up on the personality front. I mean, she had no personality. 2017 election was about Brexit. People voted Labour because they thought it would stop it. Partially, but I think that was the one. No, Labour didn't offer a second referendum in that election. It was just the difference of the kinds of Brexit we would get. Corbyn should have won. Yeah, 100% he should have won that election. I'm thinking now that was an easy dub. May is an unfortunate case from what I've heard. 2017 election was about Brexit. People voted because they thought it would stop it. It's just, the people who voted for... there's 22 people here and there's 8 votes. So if you guys could vote in this, that'd be great. Even if you're going to vote for the wrong option, it's fine. But, ridiculous.
Really good example of exactly what I'm talking about when I think the Green Party.
I've got to say, this brother talks fast and I respect that.
We need to step up and we need to be bolder. So I went from door to...
What does that mean?
So exactly. I went door to door with the journalist that day who followed me probably for about 4 or 5 hours. We didn't find a single person who was voting for the Labour Party or the Conservative Party. People were sick of the old 2-party system, and it really is a 5-party system now.
Although the Conservatives came second with 34 councillors.
Well, so the people I was speaking to, a lot of them were saying, I really care about the environment and I'm glad the Green Party is standing for that, but I don't know what your other policies are. So as I went door to door, the amount of people who then said, now I've heard that, I'll vote Green. And it just occurred to me that far too many of these people do not hear us in national media. They don't know entirely what the Green Party stand for other than our environmental policies.
You need a strong ground game. You need a strong ground game where you're out campaigning. I don't know how much they have in terms of volunteers and such, but they're clearly lacking in that area in certain places.
So I think what's really important is that the party finds a way to cut through, and the way that the Liberal Democrats have in terms of Ed Davis stunts. I'm not suggesting we start doing that because I think they've got 72 MPs. Great, I'd love 72 MPs, but I think people would struggle to articulate what the Liberal Democrats as a bloc stand for. What is their coherent narrative to change the country? I think the Green Party have a really clear, coherent story to tell. What I just think is we aren't being bold enough.
It's not just on them. There's a lot of things Corbyn did wrong, in my opinion. But yeah, we go to the GOAT of immigration conversation.
Being a little bit more realistic. You listen to the likes of Andrea Jenkins. She says horrible, dehumanizing and despicable things, like the fact that we should leave homeless people on the streets in tents, and you want to believe the fairy tale that this time this is the thing that's tough enough, that's cruel enough, that's harsh enough, it'll make them all disappear. They'll go somewhere else, don't care where.
Nah, it wasn't just Brexit that killed him. He was against probably the toughest Tory leader to beat in Boris Johnson. Corbyn's starting a party. There won't be distractions in with the Greens, with voters. I don't think there's much point. I think he's like, I don't think the party will do well, to be honest. I genuinely don't think if he another party would do well. The space is very it's very saturated.
Somewhere else, another country will deal with them. It's nonsense, it's dangerous, it's destroying the soul of this country, and anybody who is halfway decent will stand up and speak up at this stage in our politics, because we are echoing an extremely dark and dangerous part of history right now.
Why are you so convinced, Zoe, that it won't stop people coming?
I would like to give us the example of Saudi Arabia, right? A country which is not signed up to the Refugee Convention or international legal frameworks on human rights, where you cannot seek asylum and be given a hotel room, where in fact they are so extreme in their opposition to people attempting to cross the border irregularly that hundreds of people attempting to make that crossing from Yemen have been shot by border guards and killed at the border.
This is something I've never even heard of. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Women and children have been shot, and they are not entitled to anything when they cross the border, but they continue to cross it. Why? Because migration in these circumstances is life. People move. We always have. We always will. We move from where we have no chance to live to where we have a chance and where there is a future for our children. It made up last year 5% of immigration to the UK, the people coming on the boats. 5%. This is an utterly, disgracefully overblown story. It is truly revolting that we are talking in such sadistic terms as of leaving these people homeless on our streets, which would obviously be bad for our communities. And it is really important to emphasize again, these are not 4-star hotels. They may once have been 4-star hotels. They are squalid places where
There's a rundown, just underinvested hotels.
people are not allowed to work. And that is the key, because what we really need to do is let these people work. And then
Other countries allow it. They allow refugees to work. Yeah, she's the best. She's the best in this field, honestly.
all of us just need to start being a little bit more realistic. You listen to the
Okay, this is the clip already. Tense. It's just so stupid. It's so, honestly, some of the conversation around this is so dumb. Ugh. And yeah, this is the goat, the king, talking about most prime ministers respond to these local elections with the same old excuses. My response is simple, I get it. So you click on the article, you're thinking, okay, let's see what he's got to say. Paywalled. It's fucking paywalled. This absolute dumbass has paywalled the article. They, for some reason, they love the Times. The Labour Party love the Times. I don't get why. You know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's just getting tuned up in the comments. Crazy work. I would go on for my last clip. We need a singular left working class. It's not even just a singular. It's just you need better champions in the space. Like there's that economist guy, Gary Stevenson. He seems okay. You got Jimmy. I like Jimmy the Giant. Some geezer. There's a lot of like cool kind of people emerging in the space, which is nice. But I think there's no one to really link it together. No politician who's ready to link things up. That's the main problem. So I don't know. I just it's pretty bad at the moment. I'll be honest. There's a lack of leadership, I think, in this country. That's the main problem. From that angle, like it can't be Corbyn. I think, like I said, I think he's too divisive. He's too divisive. I don't know who you could get to run it. So I was looking at Beyblade prices. It's just really what there's one I really wanted. Oh shit. But yeah, like I said, I don't know, guys. Like, it needs leadership. It needs ideas. Maybe the trade union movement. Eddie Dempsey, I think his name is. There's options here. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Theresa May on the comeback trail. 40-40. Let's go. No, someone voted for Sunak. No, you've broke my heart. Yeah, like I said, it can't be called. I vote for left-leaning AI over any human. I mean, look, I would vote for Ultron quicker than I'd vote for anyone. But that's not gonna happen. We need the Age of Ultron. Now, I did see the Grok AI absolutely lighting up Musk. That was fun. Working class communities need a common voice to it. It's got to be. The main issue is like, you've got to unite people around the economy and living standards, and stop them from constantly just always talking about immigration. And I don't know how you do that. I'll be honest. Like, you need some sort of way to really focus people on the economy and say, look, we can actually tangibly improve your life here. The problem is they just focus on immigration and things like. Oh well, there was a major operation, to get rid of certain people. So there's that. But yeah, it's a bit crazy at the moment. But I don't know, guys. I don't know what to say on this subject. Like, there's a lot the left need, but class consciousness, that is true. The only unifying factor we all have the same common. I think it's got to be class consciousness. I think you're right. I think beyond that, though, like, I think it's got to be people who want it, who want better living standards, and politicians who can deliver it. The issue is that, like, that's not happening at the moment. Like, so I'm just lost on it at the moment, to be honest. Like, there's a lot that needs to happen here, but it's just not happening. So what more to say? You achieve this struggle, propagandizing struggle, and showing our class can. I think it's just telling people that it doesn't have to be this way. I think that's the main problem. Like, it feels like people in England just enjoy suffering as long as other people suffer with them or suffer more. I think that's the main issue. Like, I don't know. I'm going to try and break this up into 3 to 4 segments of discussing kind of things for the Greens, things for Labour, things for Reform. I think that'll probably be the best way to do this video, to do this as a video. So I'll just be reorganising this thing. Yeah, it's just focusing on the economics. It can't be on the back of attacking foreign people. That's what it can't be, because that's what will break a movement. The problem is the Labour Party push that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Like, there's no good answers here. Do you know what I mean? Well, there are good answers. I take that back, but the problem is that the Green Party aren't pushing for it. The Lib Dems aren't pushing for it. The Labour Party aren't pushing for it. And then the other two parties are not worth mentioning in the context of this conversation. But, like, what more can happen here? Because if there was a good party, look, if there was a party worth voting for, I'll be there no matter what. But the problem is, I just don't think there is. I don't think there is. So, I don't see it. Like, I saw, I want to discuss some of the people later, but some specific people later, because there's a lot I want to say about them. But on this specific subject, guys, I don't have answers. Oh well, to be fair, I don't know. Let's see what he's covering at the moment. Let's see what bro's on at the moment. Because I guarantee it's probably like Trump and Reform. Like, I'm sure he'll hit me with the "I don't worry about you at all" meme. But let's see what's he covering. So, Tory tantrum, local elections result, Kickstarter Kings no more. Okay. Keir and Macron save the world again. Councils is your local council about to launch a Doge unit? Bad not survives for now. I'll just put this up so you can actually see. Look at this. Farrage, Facebook, Conservatives a masterclass in losing, despite this being a really terrible result for Labour. Is there anything on the Labour Party here? No, is the answer. Like, there's nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a refusal to talk about the Labour Party at all. Like, it's crazy, given that they're the party in power. Like, does he actually talk about Labour at all? Let's see. So you got one hit for Labour. Greener, safer, fuller toast. Labour's week in a nutshell. It's a week ago. That was his last video on Labour. What'd you do? For example, anti-fascist activity needs to concentrate on protection of trans and queer folk, refugees and Muslim communities. Yeah, I think just you gotta push the economy, guys. Like, I think you gotta push the living standards thing. And you're talking about it won't be the backs of the disabled or the unemployed that you're gonna manage to get this economy to turn around. That's not gonna happen. What you gotta do is focus on the people who have wealth. That's what you have to focus on. Look at reforming that, because at the moment our wealth is very top heavy and it's not trickling down at all. It's all being siphoned away by offshore companies, limited companies, all of this kind of stuff. That's all the money's going to landlords, effectively. I tried arguing that voting for Labour's reforms was a waste of time. I don't think it's a waste of time. It's just incrementalism. Incrementalism in a time where you had 15 years of stagnation and going the wrong direction. Incrementalism isn't the answer. That's not what's going to get you over the line here. It's not going to fix things. Like, I watch some of those guys a lot. Like, I always enjoy watching. I think my favorite, one of my favorite streams is The Agenda with Phil and Graham, because you can see Graham being really worried about reform and stuff. Phil going, nah, it's fine, whatever. Labour will figure it out. And talking about how the NHS improvements, this and that, are gonna steer, help Labour win. But like, it's not gonna be enough. What I mean is their reforms are milquetoast and easily cancelled. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I tried arguing that voting for... Yeah, that's true, but any changes you make legislatively, for the most part, are very easy to cancel, because one act of parliament can repeal another. So even if you put through loads and loads of good policies through, loads of good laws through, the next party can come in easily and get rid of them. The activity I suggested should be alongside wider campaign to take political power, not instead of them. See, Phil literally doesn't believe in council housing because it could possibly be sold off. Nah, fuck off. He didn't say that, did he? That's fucking stupid. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. You just get rid of right to buy. Bola Hatman argued for working side Labour or Phil. Yeah, I saw Phil quit, but he didn't quit. He quit because of they won't let him push tactical voting. I mean, if his view is he doesn't believe in council housing, then whatever. And at that point, whatever. I don't. It's just whatever, man. Just okay. Like, what are you supposed to say to idiocy? Yes, let's go. Theresa May winning. Theresa May is winning the poll. Sunak a very close second. But yeah. Bola Hatman argued for working inside Labour. With the thing, I told you guys last year, it might have been before last year, to be honest with you, that working with the Labour Party it doesn't care about members, especially now. The only time it's really taken members' views into account was when they got the second referendum in the 2019 election. That's about it. They don't care about members. Do you think the membership were fans of the Iraq War, for example? Things like that. Like, they weren't. Like, the thing is, like, political parties don't care about members. They care about big donors. That's all that matters. Why would you care about someone paying £3 a month, essentially like 36 quid a year or whatever, when you got someone paying you £1,000, for example? Is purely numerically Labour being 10% anti-benefits is fine as long as the Tories are 15%. By logic, you'd be pro. It's incrementalism. Like I said, like it's the idea that being pragmatic and taking half measures is the way, when like it doesn't have to be like that for the most part. Like, all you're doing is looking at polling and stuff like that, but it just doesn't. Like, there needs to be another conversation around benefits, which is it helps the economy. Like, that's the conversation people should be having. Like, having people just have minimal amounts of wealth, which benefits. You're not going to live a rich life off welfare, right? But having like a bit of money goes back into the economy. So that's the thing. All you have to do is manufacturing consent and pushing the overtime window. Yeah, which is because again, people don't vote for half measures. Like, if people want things like disability cuts, they'll vote for the party that's going to give the whole thing. Basically, they're going to give you all of it, all of the cuts and stuff like that. The fact that what's his face won a second election, David Cameron, like it shows you that people didn't want the half measure of austerity; they wanted the full thing. At that point, they didn't care, and people will vote against their best interests. I actually discussed that. Should we discuss that now? Let me bring up the clip I actually did want to kind of discuss. Like, if you wanna, like, the thing is, one of the things, one of the issues is that one of the big issues that people will vote against their best interests. Like this clip here, right? You have a person talking about how he's a Nazi, even though the fact is, this is probably copyrighted, by the way. You got a guy talking about how how him and all his homies are Nazis, right? Despite the fact that the Nazis hated black people the most. I think they hated black people more than they hated Jewish people. And you got this guy saying this.
With all of the money and fame, I still can't get my kids back. With all of the money and fame, I still don't get to see my children. Niggas see my Twitter, but they don't see how I be feeling. So I became a Nazi.
Honestly, I watched this clip and I thought it was a parody.
Bitch, I'm the nigga, how
Like, it's crazy. Like, genuinely, I watched this, I was baffled. Like, again, this is a guy who potentially will vote for a Nazi candidate, despite the fact that, did Dave Chappelle do a guy like this? I don't know. But, like, you got literally a guy who will vote for a party against his own interests, completely against his own interests. No one does Kanye. I mean, the beat's fire, but the lyrics are just insanity. And you got this guy, he's got a diamond swastika. Like, I've never in my life have I seen anything like this. He has a diamond swastika, like a blinged out one. Kanye West, like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's I mean, people will vote against their best interests and things like that. People are crazy. Like, it's not just him. He's saying all of those people in that room. We're back in this. This is insanity. The lyrics might get your channel in trouble, maybe, but that video seems to be fine. So, I mean, if YouTube got an issue with it, they got an issue with it. But it's crazy. I'll just appeal it, to be honest. It's crazy, but here's what I mean. In the context of people and voting and things like that, like, you have to try and take people on a journey with you to make them understand, like, okay, we talk about unemployment, okay? There are checks and things to make sure people are looking for jobs and things like that, right? So those exist. And then the unemployment money people get, it's not a lot of money. That money goes back into the economy. So people buy goods and services. That money goes back into the economy and enables them to... Who the hell is voting for Rishi Sunak? Come on, guys. That money goes back into the economy and helps stimulate the economy, helps stimulate growth. That's what, PIP and unemployment benefit goes to, universal credit and things like that. But if you get rid of these things, it's going to have a negative effect. That was Kanye West, yeah. It's going to have a negative effect on the economy. So it doesn't make sense. Like I said, people will vote against their best interests. But that's always happened. But you need to take people on a journey with you. Like, somehow people have taken Kanye on a journey with them, and he somehow ended up a bloody Nazi. But it didn't happen overnight. Yeah, it was Kanye West, yeah. I don't know, man. Like I said, it's baffling. But this you have to try and talk to people. When the 100th guy finally kills the gorilla. Okay. I do enjoy the discourse of 100 men versus a gorilla. It's great. But we've gone to our last clip here. We've almost got 30 people here. I kind of hoping we did cross the 30 mark. But given how bad the start of the stream was, I'm still glad people are actually here, to be honest. So yeah. Hopefully the internet will be better in upcoming weeks. But yeah, I can't believe it. Believe it. So if you want, that Kanye West video is probably the most interesting video I watch all week because it's just like, wow, it's crazy. But this was the second most interesting video I watched all week. So this is Graham Hughes discussing wanting to work for the Labour Party.
Or even, look, Labour, if you don't want to start your own fucking politics channel, why not support some people who do? Why not just pay fucking £11,000 to someone who's got, you know, a channel just to say, oh, here you go. Here's £11,000. Here's what.
Yeah, we did it. We hit 30. But this number is very specific. 11 grand. Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
Nigel Farrage.
I was just watching this at work, right? And I was like, my ears kind of perked up. I was like, what?
His less than Nigel Farrage makes each week from appearing on GB News. And just, can you do us a favour? Can you just make a video each day talking about how much of a bunch of gobshites we fuck are?
You do that anyways. You do that for free. You literally do that for them anyways. Why would they pay you to do it?
To do anything pro-Labour, just go on there, talk about how terrible we fuck is.
Imagine how tainted your content would be, right? The Labour Party paying someone in the media to do content, to do hit pieces for them, basically. The optics on that would be ridiculous.
That's all you need to do. Why aren't they doing that? They'll spend 11 grand on hiring a fucking venue.
Bitterness.
Have a disappointing party, Labour would. To have a little soiree with some bottles of fucking wine for their donors. They'll spend 11
Yeah,
grand.
of course they would, because their donors are paying them money. It's to get more donations in.
On that without even thinking about it. But 11 grand on a content creator just to get them a little bit, you know, a head above water, get them into a little position. Obviously, we'd like more than that in general, but seriously, why not? What is wrong with them?
You want them to spend like 11k of memberships money? Like, it's crazy.
On the out there identifying people making content on social media who might be people that you can get on side.
So this, you know, last year, right? You know, last year I was talking about why are these guys so pro-Labour, calling people Tory enablers and all of this stuff, right? And it just makes sense now. Like, it took me so long to figure this out. I was just thinking about it, right? I was like, you know, watching this video, it makes so much sense. Because I was like, you know, like the Glaze was crazy. Like, these guys were like proper back in Labour. Phil, he wanted to be a Labour MP. Like, he made that clear. He made that clear. He wanted to be a Labour MP, which is whatever. You know, at least he was honest about it. Graham here was not honest about wanting to get employment, you know, seeking employment with the Labour Party to be a media personality for them. Because, you know, when people pay, you know, something Gamers and Nexus actually said, right? He said paid reviews are marketing. That's what they'll be hiring for, to market the Labour Party, you know, to do all of these positive pieces for Labour and also do all these hit pieces against other parties. Because that's what they will look like if you get paid to do these videos.
Well, it's too late now. Because I wouldn't. Phil,
I bet you would. I bet you would.
I don't think would anymore. I mean, the Super Tansky wouldn't, I don't think. I can't talk for Tan, but we can ask her tonight if she's on the social. Like, would you say, okay, yeah, Labour, I'll help you out? At this point, I mean, 12 months ago, fuck yeah, I would have done that. I would have taken that job in a heartbeat. I applied for that job with Labour.
It's just crazy. Batman would not get this information out of me. Yeah, I mean, I applied to be a shill for a political party. Batman would not get this information out of me, dog. He'd have to run me over with the car. He'd have to run me over with the car. One sec, let me see if I can find it. Car. See if I can find it quickly. Yeah, he'd have to. Oh no, it's the long clip. He'd have to threaten me with the Batmobile, to be honest. Like, it's got to be looking like this to get this information out of me. Like,
How does it feel to be chasing the wrong man?
like
Where is the Arkham Knight?
this is the levels. This. One sec, let me find the scene. Sorry. This is the level of nonsense they would have to put me through to admit something like that. Like, you admitting, like, you as a content creator, someone who's meant to be objective. You know, you have your analysis because of these are the things you genuinely believe, and now we find out you wanted to apply for the Labour Party. Has that tainted your analysis? Has that clouded your judgment on them? Did you go easier on them because of these things? Because this is the stuff I'd be thinking. There's a reason why I'm not a member of a political party, because I don't want my analysis, my takes to be tainted or even have the appearance of that. I want my honest takes to come through, and I think it does. You know, whether you agree with me or you don't, whether you think that I'm saying the right thing or I'm not. Come on, guys, who's voting for Sunak? Oh, you guys are killing me here. You're ruining it. But ultimately, like for me, I would want my absolute honest opinion to come through. Now, right? Think about it like this. All of those times he was calling people Tory enablers for not voting for the Labour Party, was he doing that because he wanted to prove that's genuinely his opinion, or does he want to prove that he's the biggest shill they could have had? Because now he's turned against the Labour Party. Now he's going after him because that job's no longer available. And now he's saying, I wouldn't take that job anyways if it was offered.
And they said, no, sorry. We're getting, what's it called? A consultancy firm in to do it.
Because I heard Tansky make this same kind of point that they were hired a bunch of posh goons rather than hiring, you know, working class content creators. So it's definitely a thread there. And it might be why they're even more angry at the Labour Party, because they wanted to work for the party. They wanted to get in. That's why they did all of this. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, when you do stuff like, wow, Rishi Sunak's getting absolutely hammered here. It's the second votes in 2 years. He's getting a beating. But do you guys see what I'm saying here? Like, it taints your entire thing. If it's the case that, you know, you wanted to apply for a job there, you're going easier on them. You know, you are attacking people who are attacking Labour. Tansky last post was okay. Now it's changed. Post election, sure. Post election, they're coming after Labour. You know, when there's no opportunity to work for them, and if they did work for them, it would absolutely tank their careers right now. It would damage them to no end if they had to come out and do a positive spin for some of the changes Labour have made. It would be incredibly damaging. Incredibly damaging.
We're getting a consultancy in to do it. How'd that go for you, Labour?
They won the election. So, you know.
How'd that go for you? Okay. There is something in politics, in a democracy, that I believe is way more important than policy. Like, yeah, I get it. Policy is really fucking important. And
policy is the most important.
Should be the most important thing. But come here. It isn't. Do you know what the most important thing is in politics? If we live in a democracy, right? Personality. That's it. Personality. That's why Trump wins.
It's not down to personality. Personality will get you a win. It'll win you an election, but it won't keep you there for long. It won't keep you there for long. There's a reason why Boris Johnson one term and he lost. He was out. But Trump won one term. He lost the second. He lost against Biden. It wasn't down to personality. Personality will get you in the door. That's about it. Fazil Shaheen and Liane Mohammed both need to be in Parliament. Yeah, I like Fazil Shaheen. I think she's quite good. Liane Mohammed, I'm not too familiar with her.
That's why Farrage fucking wins. They have personalities.
It's not just, oh my god. It's just bro's learning the wrong lesson here. It's not Farrage. You know, first of all, Farrage didn't win for a long time, but it's not just down to personality. He understands how to tap into xenophobia.
That's how you win in a democracy. Progressive politics plus personality. Can we have that, please? Can we have that? No, we can't. For some fucking reason, we have.
You were never going to get that under Starmer, though. Literally, the guy you backed he didn't back progressive policies at all. Like, he was very much the opposite of a person with personality and the opposite of someone who had progressive politics.
Roger Irrelevant leading the Labour Party, all the charisma of a dead frog, and you're like, what the hell? Seriously? Okay, all right, well, at least there's people around him who are quite charismatic.
Like who? Who's charismatic in the Labour Party?
Jess Phillips and Angela.
Jess Phillips? Charismatic Jess Phillips?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Let's get them out there. Yeah. No, what we're going to do is we're going to stifle them and we're going to tell them exactly what to say so they can't really speak from the heart. They're just really...
That's what they were always doing, though. There was at no point under Starmer did they have massive personality.
Things off an auto cue in front of their camera, in which they are looking at the camera and they are just reading the auto cue of the things that they have to say.
because it's all scripted. This is all choreographed. That's what Labour Party are about. They were never going to let them go off script.
It's fine that Putin has no personality. It's fine that Xi Jinping...
I mean, Putin does have personality. He's stoic. That's his personality type. He's stoic. He's a man of few words. The very, very occasional laugh. He's like Fedor. Like, that's his personality type.
Has no fucking personality, right? Doesn't matter. Because they run dictatorships, okay? Doesn't matter. They get away with it. But if you want to win in a democracy, you've got to have some personality behind you. And you know what?
Theresa May arguably won. She has no personality. David Cameron didn't have much of a personality. It's not strictly true. It's you need good timing when you enter politics, really.
It doesn't have to be the leader necessarily, but at least some people in the party who are sent out to, let's say it, entertain people. How about someone from Labour who every time, or the Greens would do really well with this. The Greens, Labour, Lib Dems as well. Every time they're on the TV, it gets clipped. Every fucking time. 100% of the time, they're on the TV. They are going to do something, say something hilarious, outrageous, like a kind of like, you know, a Bill Maher or a Frankie Boyle or something like that. Really?
I don't really want to play too much more of this, but you know, I watched this video and I was like, it's just crazy work. It's just, you know, all of this for a drop of blood, basically. Like all of this to get a job for what, for 11k? You know, I guess on top of his like the money he makes off YouTube, you know, via super chats and views. But like it couldn't be me, guys. Honestly, it couldn't be me. I just, you know, I'm trying to find the clip that I want to play here, but it's just foolishness.
Vanish. Foolishness, Dante. Foolishness.
You know, like this is how if I took that money, this is how it would feel. It would feel like a stab. Honestly, it's just foolishness.
Foolishness, Dante. Foolishness.
Like, it's ridiculous. Honestly, like to all of this for 11 grand is crazy work. Just for some money from the party who don't care for you. You're not their target demographic. Do you know why? Because you'll always vote. You know they think you'll always vote for him, and that's what you told them. You kept telling people, get the Tories out no matter what. We need to vote for Labour. Oh, if you don't vote for Labour, you're a Tory enabler.
A little bit, you know, a head above water. Get them into a little position. Obviously, we'd like more than that in general, but seriously, why
Who's
not?
we?
Why? What is wrong with them? Why aren't they out there identifying people, making content on social media who might be people that you can get on side? But it's too late now.
It just feels like a big kind of ex-girlfriend vibes. I think, you know, it could have been it. I can't see the logic here. Yeah. One sec, I can play that for you. One sec.
I fail to see the logic here. The price to pay for power.
So yeah, you know, like you guys sold out so hard for this party who don't care for you, who don't care for you. Yeah, it's tragic. Honestly, it's tragic. But like, did you guys really think it was gonna be different? Did you really think it'd be different? Never heard of this dude. Can't say I've missed anything. Honestly, like, it's conflicting because, like I said, I have to coexist in this space, and because I'm on, you know, the Sunday roast and stuff like that, he does do work to help the channel out. So I was a bit conflicted today about discussing him. So I won't do a full video on him or those guys. But it's just like you spent in months insulting people like me who are telling you there's an iceberg coming, right? Who said, like, look, these policies only benefit the Reform Party and the Tories, right? You know, and then you get called a Tory enabler. You're like, are you insane? Like, you know, calling people Tory enablers when they're telling you there's an iceberg coming, telling you that this is not it, chief. And you just like, okay, let's just wait on it. You know, let's just wait. Let's see what happens. You know, these are the guys and girls talking about we're going to push Labour to the left. We're gonna, you had Tansky talking about, built connections and all of this stuff, right? You got the biggest guy in the space. He left the Labour Party. He left. Whether that's because he wants to push tactical voting, or whatever, right? He left. It's this idea you could push Labour to the left on issues like proportional representation. Like if you said, look, that's my big goal, proportional representation. Okay, how are you going to get that outside of the party? I don't know. Your biggest goal is to get, you're one of those dodos who thinks we can rejoin the single market, right? How you can do that outside the party? How? Genuinely how? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So for me personally, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. So like, you can talk a big game. You can talk about how what do you call it? Like you're mad at the Labour Party and whatever, right? You're gonna vote for the Labour candidate most likely. Most likely. So, how's it going, man, Kieran? You're gonna vote for the Labour Party most likely. So in terms of what have you gotten, with your vote by shilling for the party because you wanted a job? Like he wanted a job. It was very clear. It's very clear he wanted to work within Labour. Be employed by them effectively. He wanted 11 grand effectively to become kind of a person who does hit videos on other parties and stuff like that. Because if you're there being employed by the party to run your channel on behalf of them or whatever, how are you going to do pro Lib Dem videos? Lib Dems who are very pro EU. How would you do pro Green videos who are very pro EU? The Greens and the Lib Dems are far more pro EU than the Labour Party are. So how are you gonna do this stuff? So for me personally, as I said, like I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Like you guys talked a big game, and it's just not happened for them. So I'm trying to see if there's anything more interesting going on. The outgoing Tory leader of Northamptonshire Council was called Kemi Badenoch to step down. Let's go. That's my area. This is my ends. Let's go. Let's go. The outgoing, he lost his seat. He lost his seat to a Reform. So yeah, rare dub for my town. You love to see it. Oh, why Beth?
It might be annoying.
Oh no, it's just there's no point. I'll just watch that video. New day emerges May 4th. I do love some of these edits. Just my Twitter's full of like nonsense at the moment, so I'm just trying to see if there's anything more interesting because I want to call it a day, but I can't see if there's anything more interesting to talk about because my Twitter's an absolute mess. So there's not much for me to. There's not much really for me to discuss. Oh, there's a really cool picture of these cats. Sorry, it's that Expedition 33 game. Everyone's talking about it. Oh Lord, have mercy. Sekiro prepared. Oh. Sorry guys, there's not much more interesting I think for me to talk about. DBS core. Yeah. We'll call it a day here, I think. I'm glad that the Libs stayed in power here. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm glad you guys did all right. Big up Mark Carney, the boy. One of the good central banker we had actually did some good for this country and wasn't afraid to really go after the clowns in charge at the time. He took a lot of stick because he was Canadian, but yeah, no worries, guys. Honestly, I might be on chat for a little bit. I've got this video I need to do, but I might just do it tomorrow. To be honest. I'm ashamed to see the audience once again are not as intelligent as me politically and have said the easiest Tory leader to beat was Rishi Sunak. I'm shocked. I am appalled. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined that you would choose Rishi Sunak over Theresa May. How Boris Johnson's got a higher result than David Cameron. You think Boris Johnson is an easier leader to beat than David Cameron? This is crazy work. You said Johnson. God damn. This poll here is wild. This is why I'm the commentator, guys. This is why I'm the guy on the microphone and you guys are in the comment section, okay? Because it takes like these. Because it takes like these. You said the lettuce lady. I didn't put Liz Truss. I didn't put Liz Truss because she didn't run at an election. These were just Tory leaders who ran in elections. So obviously I don't know much about what's his name. The other one's like Duncan Smith. I don't know much about Duncan Smith or Hushpah. No, what's his name, man? The other guy. I can't remember the other Tory party leader's name, but you know, the ones who ran against Tony Blair. I don't know who they are. I couldn't remember him. And to be fair, I only get 4 shots in a poll, anyways. I think it only goes up to 4. Robert Degenerate. Oh, that's a good one as well. Oh no, Robert Degenerate. That's a good one. Robert Degenerate. That's a good one. No, I'll give you that. I've not heard that one either. Hague. That's it. Is it William Hague? I don't know anything about him. So there were 7 people who ran against Blair. 7, really? 7. But he only had 3 elections though. How could he have 7 people run against him if there's only 3? He only had 3 elections. 97, like 2000, 2001, 2005, I think. Might be 97. No, it can't be 2003. I don't know. Yeah, guys, I don't know. But yeah, Mark Francois, you serious? What? You guys can't be serious. No way he was Tory leader. There's no way. It's impossible. Mark Gino Francois. He wasn't Tory leader. Be serious. There's no way he wasn't Tory leader. Mark Slow and Deliberate. No, I don't think that one works. I think Robert Degenerate is better. Anyways, guys, who QA? If you're still there, who are the 7 people who ran against him? What is split fiction? Never heard of it. So yeah, who are the 7? But I don't think there's much. See, partisan and creepy interviews are a threat to democracy. What? I don't think there's much more. All I'm seeing is Claire Expedition 33, which is a game I'm going to play in about 10 minutes. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that Labour MP calling the grooming gags thing a dog whistle. There's not much else going on. Funny how World War II movies like Indiana Jones, the map says. That's it. It's just been altered. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss? Prescott. No, Prescott wasn't a Tory. He was Labour. John Major, Hague, Ian Duncan Smith, Michael Howard, David Cameron. What elections were these guys in? So he beat. Okay, no, he beat John Major originally. Hague. Okay, so I don't know, 2000, 2003, 2002, 2005. You'd have Duncan Smith. When did he verse Michael Howard and David Cameron? That doesn't make sense. Oh, are you talking about in PMQs? You're talking about in PMQs. I'm talking about in elections. Who were the ones he faced off against? What was it? Tony Blair. Let's have a look. It should only be 4, I think. No, 3, because he only ran in 3. He's the only Labour Prime Minister to win back to back. I'm trying to find it, guys. I can't find it. Oh, this website's hella old. No, I don't know. I don't know what election years I'm looking for, to be fair. They were party leader. Okay. GHGs are accelerating upward. What? Major 97. Howard 2005. Ian Duncan 2000. Okay, there we go. So he ran against... I don't know much about John Major. But I imagine John Major's probably a better campaigner than Theresa May. Who else? Well, she got Howard. I don't know anything about Michael Howard. Ian Duncan Smith might be the only one who's worse than Theresa May, given the guy's a massive goon. That's about it. He's leader for a year. How come? How come he left? How come he left, or did he pass away in office? No, he's still alive, by the looks of it. He was leader of the Conservative Party and leader of the opposition from 2003 to 2005. Are you sure you got your dates right, QA? It says here. He was leader of the opposition 2003 to 2005. Oh, he's very old. He resigned, okay. And then Dave replaced him. Whoops. So... Oh, wait, I forgot to discuss. This was actually the last thing I wanted to discuss. Oh, it's beef. Oh, sorry, guys. Oh, I fumbled. Oh, no, that's it. It should be on this side. I fumbled greatly. I was meant to show you guys this. The Toronto Maple Leafs are still in the playoffs. I think that's a sign of the... Brother, I have no idea what that means. So this is John McDonnell.
Is he going to be the next Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, after the next election?
My big fear at the moment is that if we don't start listening to people, we're preparing the ground for the furthest right administration in government that we've ever seen in our history.
That's too early to do that, Kieran. It's too early.
That's the danger.
What, you think Farrage could be Prime Minister?
I'm really frightened that we would have a far-right government under Farrage. And if we...
You got this plonker here, Hinder, who I think we were discussing earlier. You're talking about leaving the ECHR and stuff like that. He thinks it's immigration. So where is he an MP of? Pendle and Clitheroe. I know nothing about this area, but if this guy's your MP, I feel for you. This guy's an idiot. 2 Reform Council people have been kicked out of the party already. A third person seems to not exist. Great. So he's talking about immigration. Then you have Tansky calling him an idiot, saying, you took a battering for this, and you're tilting your head for another electoral pasting. You are not just destroying your chances electorally, but the entire country in the process. Political idiocy. Far too late for this now. Far too late. But the fringes, but electoral comes to the whole point of the witch hunt against the left and the total control over the party. These are your people. So, who was the alternative to Labour who could have won Genius? Do you have some magic FPCP, a first past the post defying alternative? No, you didn't. I'm proud to have helped decimate the Tories, because that's what this is all about. I'm doing what I said I would and holding Labour accountable, which, very late, she's very late to it, I think. But yeah, and then he goes, yeah, we really should be doubling down on your trans activism. That'll win back the working class, definitely. It's crazy work. You got beef between these two. It's nuts. Oh wait, I think I've already got this one. It's crazy work, honestly. But yeah, she's beefing with Labour MPs now as well. Because I think Maj doesn't do sports. He's a... Yeah. That's... I am that. It's too early to say, innit? It's too early to say. It's Craggy Island. My background is Vegeta, I think. Oh no, it's the Windows background. It used to be Vegeta, but I don't remember when I changed it. It must have been an update I changed it, or they changed it. Yeah, you know, guys, I've been going for almost 2 hours now, despite the Wi-Fi issues. But I think it seems pretty solid now, to be honest. Now that the boosters kicked in, so yeah, you know, there's a very rocky start, but yeah, no, I think we kind of got there in the end. So yeah, happy. Yeah, Windows 10 or 11? 10. 10. I'm not going to upgrade until they make me. But yeah, anyways, guys, this was fun. No worries, bro. Friday at 4:30, I'm going to try and stream. I just need to find a place to stream, so I don't want to do it outside because it's going to be noisy and full of traffic. But you know, if I have to do it, I have to do it. But I've got a tripod that should be good. The Maple Leafs are a National Hockey League pro ice hockey team. They haven't won the championship since 1960. Jesus Christ, man! Is that the year England won the World Cup? Let me just have a look. England won the World Cup 1966. That's crazy. So yeah, the year after, yeah, and neither team has won. Windows 10 is not supported from October. Yeah, Microsoft can kill themselves. Honestly, I'm not upgrading to Windows 11 unless they make me. Like, unless I really have to. Yeah. Anyways, guys, that's me done. Thank you everyone who joined. We had about 30 people, which is great. Haven't hit that number for a long time. I think maybe a year or two. Friday, I'm going to try and make it a weekly stream as long as I don't get sidetracked by people. It might be just half an hour of me walking around the town centre like a lunatic, to be honest with you. So yeah, just be prepared for that. But I'm excited to do it. I'm not sure how presentable I look. So I did get a haircut the other week. It's my beard. That's the problem. But yeah, I'm on Windows 11. It does what it's supposed to, I guess. Nah, mate. Windows 10, Windows 7 and 10, the goats. They're the best, and XP, the greatest to ever do it. The rest suck. But yeah, I'll catch you guys. Hopefully, I'll bring back the Saturday stream. So I'll catch you guys next weekend. All right, bye. XP was good. One of the best.